I have wine, so I'll be okay.
Hello, and welcome to Spooky Sips, where we put our love of horror movies into a podcast and sip some spirits along the way. I'm one of your hosts, Yvette, here with my co-hosts, Laura and Brianna.
Hello.
Hey. Okay, so we just finished watching the 1976 movie, The Omen.
Mm-hmm.
So this movie is about an American diplomat and his wife, and they have a baby, and there's some mixing up and confusion, and basically they're raising this little child as he's like trying to further himself in his career. And there's just some weird things that start happening as the little boy is like approaching his 6th birthday. And then he has his 6th birthday and it just all starts to kind of like go down.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what this movie is about.
Yeah.
Was it his 6th birthday or 5th? Because I thought that it all started on the 5th birthday.
Oh, I think it was his 5th birthday.
But you know, it was 5th. Okay. Well, it was his birthday.
Yeah.
He's a little guy and it's his young
He
birthday.
is a little guy. Mm-hmm.
He's a very little guy. He's so cute in his little outfits in this movie.
I know. All the little suits that they put him in.
Tiny little suits.
The suits and the hats, I couldn't handle it.
I know.
Sorry, we can get into that later.
So I had never seen this one. Now I've seen the one, wasn't it Julia Stiles? The remake? That feels so right in my mind.
It very well could be.
It was like early 2000s. There was a remake and I saw that one. So this was kind of strange because as I'm watching it, I like know what's going to happen, but not because I've seen this version. So it was kind of funny watching it like reverse from the original. But had either of you seen either of them?
No, I haven't seen either. So yeah, was the 2006 one like a full remake or like a sequel?
I think it was just a remake.
It was a remake.
Oh,
yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Mm-hmm. I've seen both. So I feel like it wasn't even that long ago that for some reason I rewatched this 76 version of The Omen. So yeah. Mm-hmm. Seen them before.
It was Julia Stiles.
Yes, nice. It was. It was.
And I remember liking it.
It's just a classic story, right?
Right.
Like, it's a
so
classic
good
story. Yeah. So
I mean, it's like it's classic, but like I feel like to me, it just like I went into it kind of expecting a typical like, oh, this is going to be like a haunting or possession kind of story, and it's probably going to have typical haunts and like spookiness. Like I as soon as it started, I was like, oh, okay, this is what's about to happen.
Yeah.
But at least to me, like it exceeded expectations. Like I think it did a good job of like changing it so it wasn't just like,
agree.
And then spooky things happened and he was possessed and like this is what happened. Like it felt better done than
yes.
Yeah. See, for me, I think for some reason I just kind of wasn't in the mood for it. So I wasn't enjoying it as much as I did the first time I watched it. But so I think it's just mood dependent. I think if you're not in the mood for like kind of a slower movie or one where like there are several scenes in this movie where they like last 18 hours. And I'm like, why does this one scene last so long? So if you're not in the mood for that, movies like this can be a little painful. But yeah, I mean, really well done overall.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it does have that like classic timing feel of like the old like Rosemary's Baby and the Exorcism or Exorcist. Yeah, that's it, right?
Yeah,
you know, it's kind of got that like vibe.
Yeah, no, it is slower, but a lot happens.
Yes,
in the story. Like it takes place over kind of a long time. They go to 3 different countries to try to figure out what's going on. Like at least to me, and maybe I was just in the mood to watch it. Because like to me, the time felt warranted.
Because there's also a lot of stories. There's the mom and the son, the nanny and the son, the dad and the wife. Like there's
the reporter
all these,
gets involved. Like
the priests. Like there's all these relationships.
Yep. No, totally.
Yes.
My favorite part about watching it this time around is that for the next several days, I kept just singing like, okay, it's got that music that I always think of from like TikToks and Reels where it's like, Beelzebub. Like, it's like screaming Latin.
The Gregorian chants.
Yes.
So I've been singing that to my cat.
The music is insane for this movie. Like,
The
it's
music is
so well done.
Yeah.
I agree.
They nailed the like, oh, it's a it's a religious movie,
Mhm.
right? So it's like taking that, creating that kind
Yes.
of black mass effect was so well done. Like, the music to me like nailed it.
Oh, yeah.
Totally.
Just
And one of the things that like Laura and I were talking about, because we watched it together. Well, we watched the first half together. That I noticed was like in older movies, they have so much more background noise or like set noise. Like I was noticing like when they're walking around outside, you hear shoe falls. And like in movies now, you don't ever hear that. There's more car noise in the background. And so it's like not only was it the music, but there was kind of this like constant lull throughout the entire movie that kind of made it eerie.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Like-
all of the sounds.
Uh-huh. Like, I feel like this movie felt like you were in the movie, whereas I think now, because movies have all sound that is not related to the specific actor that they're highlighting, they have those all gone, other
Right.
than music, and they also have like the outline of people on the edges of the screen is now always blurred.
Yep.
So I feel like things just don't seem as real anymore, which
As
is also cool
Mhm.
in its own way, but this feels like you're there in the courthouse or in the sidewalk with these people.
Yeah. Yeah, for
So,
sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Well, let's get into it because it has a very strong opening.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're in Rome,
Yep, we're in
Mhm.
Rome.
and it's June 6th at 6 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
And essentially, like, the dad gets told, your child died like your wife, went into labor. Your child died. And the dad was like, I don't know how I'm going to tell my wife that.
Yeah.
And then this was when I was just thinking, oh, back in the day when you could go in and to have a baby and just get knocked out, and the next thing you know, your baby's there.
Surprise, here's a baby.
Wild.
Isn't that crazy?
But it's
Oh,
this
man.
really dark setting because like he's going back into the hospital because they called him. And so he's like going back in and he just keeps repeating the child is dead. Which is just like this really dark beginning. And he gets there and he meets with it was either a priest or a bishop.
It was a priest, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Like
The principal priest.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's Rome, so we know he's Catholic. Like that's pretty
Mm-hmm.
implied.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And basically he's like, "Hey, guess what? Surprise, another baby."
Don't
was
even worry
born
about it.
at
I
the
found a solution.
exact second in this hospital. So like we just won't tell your wife.
And he's like, honestly, he even kind of looks like you.
Yes.
Something where it's like, what? What?
Like babies all look the same.
Newborn
They're
babies,
blobs.
unless they have very, very distinct hair,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
they all kind of look the same.
Yeah.
And I will say, and we'll talk more about this, but one of the things that I think makes this movie different than so many other horror movies is like I empathized and even agreed with a lot of the ways that the main guy, the dad, handled things. Like he isn't just he was not he was like, I can't do that. What are you talking about? Like,
Yeah.
but then really he's like, well, but for my wife, maybe this would be best. Like he really gives things a lot of thoughts and he makes decisions not in a rash, wild way. Like he thinks these through and like,
Yeah.
so I like this about that guy, but basically he's like, yeah, all right, let's do it.
And the priest is very pushy. Like, he's like, take this as a
Very.
sign, really,
Very.
that
Right.
all of this happened. Like, it's like, it's clearly trying to push him.
And
But that
the
is an
mother-
insane decision.
Yes.
can't.
And the mother is dead. The baby's mother died.
Yep.
So there's no
Right.
mom and she had no family,
Yep.
friends.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
just-
really,
Doesn't tell his wife that they're doing this.
it's crazy.
But I will say, like, I have to say, part of me is like, I understand.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that can root that can change or ruin someone's life to lose a child. And so like
Yeah.
I don't agree, but I understand why he did it.
Yeah.
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 I just feel like, like maybe just like a quick conversation, where it's like, hey, this just happened, but we can adopt this other baby.
Exactly.
Right.
There's
But women aren't involved in decisions.
But just being like, yep, and we just will never tell her.
I mean,
women are not involved.
It's her fault for being unconscious during the delivery. Come on.
Right, for sure. Yes.
So something happens later that we'll talk about. But, obviously spoilers in this show don't matter anymore. But like when later he finds the grave of what was his actual baby and he was like surprised. And I was like, what did you think? You just left the hospital, like not doing anything with your dead child? Like you just left it? Like,
what did you think happened?
The fact that he was surprised to find his actual baby's grave.
Oh, but I actually completely understand why he was surprised.
But like, did he not find out what they were going to do with the body of his baby?
No, I think that, and again, we're jumping the gun, but
know.
I think that he was like, oh, they lied. My son lived, but they wanted me to take this one because I'm the one that has to have him. Like he has to have that baby. So his son actually lived and they just gave that baby to someone else. So I think he was thinking his son actually secretly lived.
But he didn't think that until later. So that means for the first 5 years of the child he raised life, Damien's life, he just thought that he had a baby who died and never knew what happened to the body.
Yeah, like didn't bury it.
Oh, well, maybe
like follow up on that.
He couldn't have. So the bishop would have had to hide it, or the priest, because he couldn't bury his own baby when his wife is like, but my baby's right here.
Right.
Yeah.
No,
like
I
the
get it.
bishop probably like covered it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we're jumping ahead. So then the family moves to London.
Yes,
because he's the ambassador.
Family.
Yep, he's going to be the ambassador to Great Britain. And I love that when we kind of see the family in London when Damien's almost 5 and they're going on this walk through a park with a plastic dog on wheels.
Yeah.
It's so cute. He's so
I
cute.
love that dog.
And they have this like wonderful montage of them like, living their life with Damien and kind of as he's getting older. So we know that time has passed. And
my favorite though was like one of the first, like, I guess, suspenseful scenes, right? Is they're going on this walk next to like a very intense river. And, they turn around and they realize that their son is gone. And it's like, oh my, like, where did he go? Only to realize he was right there. But it's like, okay, this kid was like 2 years old. Like, where it's like, oh my God, where did he go? He was right behind us. It's like, what do you mean you were just
walking,
letting your 2-year-old, I don't know, walk behind you next to like an aggressive river?
And then the mom is like, don't ever do that again. It's like, you're the one that left him.
Yes.
He's a baby.
Parenting was different in the 70s.
It sure was.
100%. Don't ever do that again.
No, sorry.
I also, though, loved the montage so much because, here on this show, we like montages, but this was not a montage of film or a video montage. It was a montage of pictures. Like they were just showing different, like
literal snapshots.
Yeah, like printed out pictures. It was amazing.
Yeah.
So then his birthday is the next big thing. It's this whole big thing. Yeah. Because we get like they moved into this really big house and they have staff and he has security because like he's in a big, government position. So the party's huge and lots of people there.
And something fishy's going on because the nanny, there's this Rottweiler that shows up and the Rottweiler and the nanny just lock eyes. Yeah. They're like, what's going on? And this part is just such an iconic movie scene because the nanny kind of like goes in the house for whatever reason. And then all of a sudden she's like in a sweet, sweet voice, Damien.
Because the mom, it's important to know the mom is with Damien. So the mom is like holding Damien walking around the party. And she and Damien hear the nanny calling.
So like, so many people at the party look toward this Damien. And then she says, look at me, Damien. It's all for you.
And she says she loves him.
Mm-hmm.
And then she had a rope there, so she puts it around her neck and jumps off the like 4th story or whatever it was.
And then like bangs back in and breaks a window.
Breaks a window. Yeah, no, that was an absolutely, again, I had never seen this movie before. And so just based off of like the very beginning, I was like, oh, okay, this is going to be like whatever, a haunting type of movie or whatever. As soon as we got this death, I was like, oh, okay, no, this is not like a slow ramp up where like, you know, normal haunting movies where it's like, oh, you get like the cabinet door is open and it wasn't before, you know, like this was not a slow progression.
Yep.
They hit us with that first one within like the first few minutes.
Yeah.
And this is also where we meet the photographer.
Yes, we see him.
Because he's there. Because like, you know, I assume he's like a journalist photographer.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Well, it's like he's an ambassador, so that makes sense, right? Like all the big events, he would have just people.
Laura, who is it that you thought he was?
Well,
Alan Rickman.
Alan Rickman. Doesn't he look like Alan Rickman?
He does. He does from afar, like because we hadn't seen a close up of him yet, and I was like, no, actually, that Loki does look like Alan Rickman. Like
he does.
He has the worst haircut I've ever seen in my entire life.
The haircut is so funny. I mean, again, it was the 70s,
right?
But
like talk about a bowl cut, but like floofy. It's ridiculous. Oh man. So do you not agree that he looks like Alan Rickman?
No, he does. Yeah,
totally.
David Warner.
Yeah, David Warner plays them.
All right. Well,
and he photographs because the dad runs over to his wife and child, and they like embrace, and they're like shielding them from it, and he photographs that.
and then I think the kind of the next scene that we see, and kind of like you were saying, Yvette, they're not subtle in this movie with anything really, because Father Brennan, he's this new priest, and he just, you know, bangs on the door, goes to the office of the dad, what's the dad's name? Oh, Robert Thorne. So goes to the dad's office and just demands to see him. And he's just like, you need to accept Christ as your savior. And like, just like super, super intense, like, you're going to die. like,
yeah. No, immediately just like, you're in danger, accept God.
Yeah, it's like you have to accept God so that you can defeat Satan. Its mother was the devil.
Here's what is so annoying is I was like, if he just shut the fuck up and said what he needed to say.
Be calm.
Like, dude, just say it. Like, because then there's many other I'm like, dude, stop it. You sound insane. Calm down and just say what you need to say.
No one is going to listen to you when you're screaming at them. You have to.
And I feel like that's a common like scary movie trope where like
for sure
this all could have been avoided with a phone call.
You can't get information across.
Right. No,
but then he doesn't say anything that matters. Like he is just rambling wildly, and he gets kicked out because the security busts the door in, and he's like, take this man away.
I want to see the photographer guy just being a creepy stalker. Like he's always
photographing him.
He's like always there, just lurking in the background, taking pictures. And you're like, what is his deal?
Yeah. So this is when they get their new nanny.
Yes, they do.
And like
governess.
I feel like this is another one of the tropes is like a new nanny arrives and it's like, wait, neither of us called you. And it's like the agency sent me.
Yeah,
exactly.
Sure, lady.
No, always check with the agency. Okay,
that's like the entire plot of the others.
Yeah. No, I feel like that's such a movie trope.
And she even said she was going to check, and she gave her all of her references. But it's the kind of thing where it's like they never got around to it, you know.
Yeah,
right. Well, because they were then being terrorized.
But she's intense. Yeah. Like you're kind of like, oh, okay. Like she's just she comes out a little strong.
Yes. Yeah. No,
she's so pushy, and even just her facial features just kind of drawn back in like this like really uptight way. Like she would be a very scary nanny.
Oh yeah. Well, you can tell she doesn't really care for what the parents want, you know? She's more like, this is what I think you should do. I'm going to go do this.
Yes.
And she's very different with Damien than she is with the parents, which is a red flag if I've ever seen one.
Yeah.
Like, if that's happening and you have even a little distrust, like get rid of her. Like,
Yeah.
Right.
oh, because they're going to a wedding. Yes, that's the next thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that they're going to a wedding. So they're all dressed and the mom calls for Damien. And the new governess is like, no, you shouldn't bring him to a church. He's too young. He won't like it. He'll fuss.
And the mom's like, bitch, I am the one that is employing you. I am the mom.
Yeah.
I want him to go to church. Have him dressed and downstairs in 5 minutes.
Loved it.
And so we see them ride up. They're going, it's an Episcopal church.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
We need, though, to talk about their wedding attire.
Especially the
Why
mom.
don't we wear headdresses like that anymore?
It was like
I mean,
turban almost.
It was almost turban-y, yeah, but
Yeah.
it was just this blue that matched her dress perfectly
The
with
wardrobe.
and Damien was wearing his little suit.
All those too much.
That's the tiniest suits. They're so
Was this
cute.
when he was wearing the tiny top hat as well? It was
he just was wearing the dad's. Like the dad put the hat on him.
Oh.
And it was really cute.
Either way, I loved it.
So they're like driving up and the mom is like, Damien is acting weird. Like, what is going on? Like, she's like, he almost seems scared.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like increasing. And
Like, yeah, he's looking not great as they get close to the church.
and the guy comes to open their door and Damien just loses it. And he's like attacking his mom, like pulling at her hair and attacking her face.
Full tantrum.
And the dad is like, shut the door. Go.
Because they're like pulling up, opening the door for them. And it's like, yeah, no, we're not.
No.
We're not stopping.
And so they go home. And I will say again, I love the dynamic between the parents because he wasn't dismissive. Like in so many horror movies, the dad or the husband is like, oh, shut up, dear. Like, and he wasn't. He was really like, yeah, what's going on? Like,
yeah.
Well, that could be a little bit of guilt from him having lied to her about who her true son is.
Yeah. I mean, maybe a little bit. Yeah.
Maybe just a little bit.
Is it at this point when she asks for a doctor or is that later?
I think that's later, but
I think that's a little later.
This is the point where he says something like, oh, because she's like putting, makeup on her face where he had hurt her. And he's saying something like, he's questioning, do you think something's wrong? Like, aren't you concerned? And then the mom is a little dismissive because she's like, oh, he's perfectly fine. He's never been sick a day in his life.
Yeah.
To which the dad's like, yeah, but isn't that weird? Like, what kid have you ever met that has never had so much as even a cold? That's not normal.
In their first 5 years of life.
And you can tell the wife's kind of like, oh, I don't want to talk about it.
Oh, yeah, now that you mention it.
Yeah. So I think the next scene is them at the safari park, right?
Oh my gosh.
Yes. So that's the next scene, but we have to the way that this scene ends is one of my favorite lines I think I've ever heard in a movie. So she and the dad are talking, they're having the debate on is their son okay? To which she then says like that she's going to go to bed because she says the best thing to do on a bad day like this is to end it.
Yep.
And I was like,
amen, sister.
That's what I need to start saying when I've had a bad day. Like, it's been a bad day. Best
I'm
thing
ending
is
it.
to end it.
I'm just gonna end it.
Going to bed. So,
yeah, the safari is wild.
This scene,
because it's actually kind of interesting, like watching a movie so old. You guys, I was about to say 30 years old.
Oh, it's just a little bit
50.
more than that.
50.
Just a little more than that.
I was literally about to be like, well, 30 years ago.
I know.
But like, what's so wild about it is like, there's just, this doesn't exist in the world anymore. Like this kind of like animal park, but it's just kind of this like open free for all.
I think there's still some drive-through wildlife.
There shouldn't be.
I have found one actually.
Yeah.
Like
they definitely still
though?
exist.
5 years ago.
So we are from Utah, and in Utah, if you're familiar, Lagoon used to have one of those, and they just shut it down. They're not doing it anymore. So that just ended, and all of the animals have gone to rescues.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, that's like a little bit of good news in the world.
See, but that one was like, it was like they were pretending to be a zoo, but all the animals were in these tiny cages, and it was just
so
awful.
sad. It was so sad.
I feel like the one that Damien and his mom went to, Kathy went to, was more like open air, like
That's true.
sanctuary that you can drive through.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And we had seen some weird reactions with animals, right? Like we had seen the dog before. And so we see Damien go to the giraffes first. And as soon as they see him, like the whole herd of them just freaks out and leaves.
Yeah.
And the mom, I feel like that's where she's starting to catch on. Like,
yes,
maybe something is
That was weird.
wrong right now.
Yeah, she's like, that was weird. Let's go see the monkeys.
Yeah, let's get in the car.
So the monkeys, they drive through, and they're the like, I don't know their real name, but they're like the bottom, not
They're
like the
baboons.
red bottom baboons, like
Mhm.
you know,
Those
Yeah.
just make me so uncomfortable because like monkeys are cute, but their butts just look
like put your
What-
underwear on, get
they
out of
just
here.
look raw.
Well, and I think, again, monkeys, like they're way too close to humans,
Yeah.
you know?
And there was a lot of them in this scene.
Mhm.
Yes.
So they're in the car driving through, and they kind of slowly stop and stare at the car, the monkeys.
And they act scared, like they kind of back away at first.
Yeah. But
But
it's like,
then
maybe they'll run away like the giraffes,
exactly.
Mhm.
But then it turns and they just attack the car.
Yeah.
And Damien and the mom are screaming and panicking because the monkeys are all over the car, like trying to break the windows and bite the windows. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, that
Scary.
was scary. That looked scary. And I do have some information about how they filmed the scene, which I actually think makes it scarier than what we saw.
Okay.
So the way that they filmed the scene is they knew they wanted to get this. They wanted the baboons to like attack the car and make it scary. So their original plan was to just put a bunch of bananas on the roof of the car.
Okay.
Because then, it was like, okay, we just won't feed the baboons for like an extra hour or whatever. And then that way, when you guys drive in with the bananas, like they'll go crazy. So they did that at first. But then while they were filming, it was like all the baboons went and they just grabbed the banana and they just started eating, which is not scary at all.
That's adorable. They're just having a little picnic.
Yeah,
Cute.
it's just them like, ooh, banana. And then just sitting down and enjoying their banana,
That's amazing.
So cute.
which I guess didn't quite work for this movie. So they were trying to come up with some alternative ways to get the baboons to get angry. Because apparently, again, this was an actual wildlife like safari park. And so they were used to seeing humans and cars and,
Right.
like they were just used to being fed. Like they aren't scared of a lot.
Right.
So it's hard to get them to like get angry. So what one of the vets that works there came up with was that apparently like the big baboon, like the biggest guy there, the head baboon of the group, had recently gotten a cut that she needed to like sew up.
I am so anxious for what you're going to say.
So they were like, well, I already have to bring him in and kind of like, like get him sewn up. So like, he's going to be like zonked out for a bit. If he's in the car while you guys are driving, then the baboons are going to get really mad because they're going to think that you're taking their like main leader. Like they're going to think you're like taking him captive and like trying to drive away with him. So that's what they did. So
Oh
the
my God.
mom and son, the characters, are in the front seat. And then I tried looking at videos and it's like, yeah, you don't see the back seat of the car.
Mm-mm.
Right.
Because in the back seat is the biggest baboon, kind of zonked out from getting his little like cut sewn up with a guy just holding him. And they drove through and yeah, the monkeys or the baboons reacted how they expected. They freaked out because they were like, oh my God, you're like taking our leader captive and you're like trying to get rid of him. Like they freaked out. And so they actually did start like attacking the car, like what we saw in the movie.
Oh my God.
That is wild.
Yeah. So the actors were very much so scared.
I
in real
would
life.
Yeah.
have been petrified.
Yeah.
Well,
No,
'cause
like
that-
this poor, like I feel bad for both of them, but like the child actor,
Yes.
like he must have been so scared.
Like, what would they have done if it had gone wrong? Because people can't come in because all the other monkeys are attacking the car.
Right.
Well, and then I was thinking, what if, because mistakes with anesthesia can happen all the time. What if the biggest monkey in the world, or not in the world, but in the park, wakes up and sees his family freaking out? He's then going to get aggressive.
That's what I was saying.
Yeah.
Like,
oh yeah, no,
that's what I was saying. Like,
that's what you were saying. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no, and the guy was like, "Look, I can only hold him back for so long in the back of this car, so like." We gotta go.
My hope would be that they had like extra medicine, like in a syringe, ready to go. But
yeah, and I think they had like the employees ready with
to fight
stuff.
all the other monkeys that are now
course,
outside. Oh my wild, literally wild.
But yeah, no, I feel like this is like
so the fear was real.
No, yeah, it was definitely real, and you would not see this today.
Yeah.
I think a lot has changed with the way that animals,
luckily,
yeah,
and humans, like because that was really messed up to do to the actress and the kid,
and then apparently they like didn't learn their lesson, and so I think it was like the editor, was like reviewing all the filming, and he was like, "We need more like." Close-ups of the baboons, like we need more shots of them, and so they were like, okay, you go shoot that then. And so apparently he was kind of like set up with his little camera, just out and about, so he was just out with the bat, like he wasn't in a car, but he had like the employees again that were close by with guns, and so he like had his camera and he was like poking a baboon with like a broomstick or something, trying to get it to like be mad so they can get the scene. And I guess like, again, he's looking through the camera doing this. And so finally he heard someone come to him and say like, do not move. And so he looked up from his camera and he had been surrounded by a bunch of baboons where it was like, if they attack you, we cannot stop them. You are in danger. Do not move. And the employees were able to like come in and like help get him out. But it was like, why are you doing this?
This is wild. Like, this is the shit that I love hearing about because, like, you never think in old movies how scenes were made.
Right.
But, like, hot damn.
Like, and I mean, it was pretty scary to watch. Like the scene where I was like, man, this must have been crazy. But I feel like learning how they did it, it was like, guys, it wasn't worth it. This is too much.
No, totally.
I mean, that scene did stick out to me. So like it made an impact. It had the desired effect, but at what cost?
Yeah.
No one was hurt though.
Yeah.
So the big baboon guy, he got, his cut sewn up.
Goodness.
Everyone was good. But
oh my gosh.
Yeah, scary for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Because, okay, this is just totally like, I'm just inferring and, conjecturing. But like, I remember hearing about The Exorcist that there were some people, especially like extras and whatnot, that like were religious and like were kind of nervous about working on the set of this film. I wonder if there was any of that where people were like, oh shit, we're something's going to happen because we're doing something wrong. Like we're dealing with something morally wrong with making this movie. So like there's probably a lot of like tension and panic.
No, I think people were actually scared. And I think it was like, I want to say the Vatican even came out being like, we do not like support this movie at all and like anything they're doing. So yeah, if you were like very religious, I imagine working on this film would be very difficult.
Oh man. But yeah, it's after the safari scene that the mom, when she comes home, she tells the husband, she's like, I would like to go see a psychiatrist, which there are several things that happen in this movie where I'm like, this is very progressive of them.
Yes. That's what I was saying. Like,
asks for a psychiatrist.
And he's like, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I was like, that is such a healthy relationship.
So for them. No, it was great. I was like, oh, okay, yeah. Supportive, asking for help when you need it. Okay.
Right. And I think that it's the same time where the dog is in the house, right? Hasn't that's around this time
it's around this time.
Yeah, I think
the dog shows up. I wanted to mention something I noticed about this scene when she asks for the psychiatrist, which I think is maybe something we all need to start doing. There was the best and biggest framed glam shot of the wife on their nightstand. Did you notice it?
On his nightstand.
On his nightstand.
No, I didn't.
It's the classic like 1970s style. Like she's all glammed out. It's just a close up of her face, and it's this huge picture just sitting on his nightstand.
Oh my gosh!
I was like, I love this.
Like, can you imagine going to bed just seeing like a giant picture of your face, like just right next to your bed?
Aaron has our wedding picture on his nightstand.
That's cute. I mean, I've
Mhm.
got pictures. Like we have our pictures all over the
But
place.
not just like a headshot.
No, but like
Not
a
like a
full
headshot.
glam headshot is honestly kind of incredible.
It's amazing. But yeah, so this is when the around this time that the nanny had brought a dog, and
Mhm.
I
assumed it's the same dog.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
that's
think
what I
that's
thought.
fair because
Mhm.
it's the same.
And the
And
dog's growling at the dad.
yeah, just with the nanny, like standing with the nanny at the nanny's bed. Because like you in this house, there's an entire hallway for Damien that leads to his room. And then it's like his room and the nanny's room are attached. There's a door between.
Mhm.
So she's standing outside her room, but that's essentially also Damien's room. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
And the dad is like, no. Because she's like, I think it would be good to have protection. And the dad,
Yeah.
no. And she's like, but Damien really loves him. And the dad is like, no,
No.
the dog will be gone tomorrow. Like,
Yeah.
so he's got boundaries, which is good.
He does.
He does, yeah. They try with her. They try
Yeah.
with this nanny.
They do.
And then is it next that the father again tries to contact or get in touch with the dad?
Yes.
And so he's like, you need to meet me at this park bench or whatever.
Mhm.
And so the dad finally is like, okay, fine. Like, I'll just go hear this crazy man out.
Mhm.
And the priest is just talking in riddles. It's like, just spit it out, dude. If you need the message to be said, just say it.
Yeah.
Like, you're making this harder on yourself.
Because he's just saying
Yeah.
like scripture and,
He's like-
revelations to him.
It's like a poem too.
Which and he kind of gets it across that like I'm talking about your child,
Mhm.
but he won't say what's going on.
Yeah. Eventually, though, he does tell him.
Yes, he
right?
spits it out. Yes, he gets across.
Yeah.
that.
So eventually,
yeah.
he yeah.
Because this is what I wrote down. I said he's talking in riddles, sermons, and scavenger hunts, but eventually warns that the wife is preggers
Mm-hmm.
and that Damien is gonna kill he says something like, Damien will not allow your wife to have that baby, to deliver that baby. Like whether it means he kills them both.
And he kind of makes it clear that like he will kill them both. Like
Yeah.
he will kill the wife and the baby. Like
Mm-hmm. And then eventually him.
yes. And he talks about the Damien's mother, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So he says that like his mother was a jackal, which just
I totally didn't even hear that.
Yes, I didn't either.
thought
Brianna
he
caught
got, I thought he got cut off. So I thought it was like, because it was right as he was like leaving or walking away, right? Like where all I saw was like, his mother was that's all I wrote. I had it in my notes. I was like, well, what is she? I wrote.
so he calls her a jackal.
Dash.
Yes. Oh yeah, a jackal.
Yeah, he calls her a jackal, which I'm just splitting hairs here, but that's actually an incorrect way to refer to it because a jackal is a beast that lies with a woman to give her the son of Satan. So actually the beast is a jackal. The woman
is just the vessel.
Laid with a jackal.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
She technically is not the
not
jackal
the
herself.
Mm-hmm.
We'll be sending in our corrections.
Yeah, I really will.
So.
But yes, so yes, we learned that. So it's like,
and then he tells him, he's like, you have to go to Bugenhagen.
Yes, and meet with this, and go to the city of whatever, and meet with the guy. Yeah, no, it's
because that's back again, where they were
it's
from.
A whole
right?
quest.
So it's that different.
That's different. Now he's telling him to like go to Israel or
that's
something.
Right. That is
like,
yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. Where is Bugenhagen a real city?
That's a good question. I don't know.
I don't know.
We're not geographers.
We're not archaeologists here.
We never said we were. We're not map makers.
In fact, we say we're not.
Yeah,
all the time.
Now, okay, so after he gives him the quest and the information, it starts to get real spooky. Oh,
it gets real spooky. Now, we should say real quick, there was a scene with the photographer in his dark room. where
Yes.
he printed a photo of this priest, and there's like a weird thing on the film, like a line
Mhm.
on the film, and
Yeah.
he's like, I don't know what that's about. So he's like, I'm gonna go figure out what it is.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So he's noticing things are funky with a bunch of different pictures.
Yep.
But then the priest gets caught in a storm,
Yep.
like very stormy.
And this was a very spooky scene. I really liked the details of the wind.
That's the
But this was one of those scenes where I felt like he was walking in the wind for 45 minutes. I was like, okay, come on, get to your destination. Like, we get it. It's stormy.
I think we're just spoiled by modern movies because I actually loved it. Like,
Yeah.
it feels artistic. I don't know the word for it, but I think it feels it's building.
Yeah, I think I was just not in the mood, which we'll talk about when we pause the movie
Right.
Mhm.
once we get to that space. But I think I was just at this point, like, getting a little antsy.
Okay. Yeah.
But it's windy. He's running and he's like, I got to get to hollowed ground.
Yes.
So he runs to a church, but it's locked and he's trying to get in and he can't. So he's like
Mhm.
running around the outside. It's like a cemetery kind of, right? I think.
Mhm.
Yeah. I think he was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
And we had seen during his, super long walk through the wind, like branches are coming at him, and it seems like it's almost kind of Final Destination vibe. Like you feel like
It is absolutely Final Destination.
he keeps
Mhm.
missing how it's trying to kill him.
Mhm.
And there's lightning on the church,
Yes.
and
And it breaks off
yep,
just like a top thing that was hanging off.
a spire, a top
It-
spire or something.
Giant spire just flies down and impales it.
Yep.
Impales
Through
the
his whole
priest.
body.
Yep. Yeah, it was a full body.
Laura and I were admiring that they put that photo of it in the newspaper.
Yeah.
Would they ever do that?
They absolutely would. They
Yeah,
used to
they
put,
have in the past.
I feel,
know.
yeah. I feel like when you read like old crime stories and stuff, like it's always like the reporters are like bashing down the door to get a picture of the dead
we
body.
live in the world
Like,
where we
it's-
have our now like blurry censor photos and you have to accept if you want to look at it or not.
Yeah.
Like,
No, they would
don't get a choice.
absolutely put
Yeah,
that
you
on
don't-
the newspaper.
You don't get a choice. You're seeing it for sure.
Yeah.
but as soon as the newspaper comes out, the photographer sees it and it is an exact
Mhm.
duplicate of his photo where the line goes through him.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like it is exactly how he died.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then I think at this point he also sees the first nanny's photo,
Yes.
Yeah. right?
Oh, yes.
Well, I don't know that we quite see this part yet. I think
No,
that's
but
more,
I think it is because what happens is he goes to the dad.
yeah, but not. I feel like some stuff happens before he goes to the dad.
Yeah.
Yes.
Eventually we see more of these
Okay.
pictures.
Yes.
Yeah. Some stuff happens before he goes to the dad,
Okay.
Mhm.
but it makes it that the dad is ready to hear it once he
Yeah.
does.
Fill us in.
Well, okay. Unless I'm writing it in,
You
unless
tell me.
I wrote it down right, wrong. Okay, so after he's impaled, the storm stops, and then we see this scene where the mom is with Damien, and I wrote down the son of Satan is annoying as fuck to the mom.
Oh, yes.
Like, 'cause she's just sitting there, and he's just like making sound, and you can tell she is just like, I cannot stand this child.
He's playing with a pool table and just banging the balls around, which
Yep.
is super fair to be annoyed with.
Yep.
So, like,
Yeah.
I think it's
No, it's just like
reasonable.
making like the same noise over and over. And like you can tell she's had it.
Mhm.
So then the mom, again, very progressive, she goes, the dad comes home and she tells him, I want an abortion. I'm pregnant again.
Mhm.
Which then the dad is like, wait, the priest knew.
Yeah, he's like,
Yep.
oh shit. And he
Mhm.
now knows that that priest is dead. So he's kind of like, oh no.
Oh
Yeah.
shit. Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
So, but he doesn't want her to have it.
Right.
Because again, religious stuff, I think.
Yeah, he wants the baby.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But then I think he's, like at work the next day or something. And the mom they have this amazingly beautiful, gorgeous house. But it also has it's really big. So it has that open kind of stairway. And then there's the second story the second floor has like the railing overlooking the first floor.
Right.
Mhm.
So she's like watering plants right near the railing.
And she's like up on a stool.
Oh,
Yes. And annoying little Damien is on his tricycle in his room, and he's just going in circles and circles and circles.
Very Circa the
Mhm.
Shining.
yes,
Exactly.
definitely.
But then the nanny's kind of, I think, paying attention to what the mom's doing or like listening, and she's like, okay, it's time. So she just opens the door so that Damien goes out
Mhm.
and just kind of runs into mom so that she trips and she falls. And she
Mhm.
like falls over the railing. She's clinging. Now we have Lion King vibes.
Right.
She's clinging to the railing and she's like, Damien, help me. Which of course, I mean,
He
also
doesn't. He
he's
just
5.
I
What's
mean,
he
yeah,
gonna
he's 5 years old.
Right.
But then she falls
Can't hold
and
on.
she can't hold on.
Alongside with a goldfish bowl. And
The goldfish
goldfish
bowl
are
had
just
also crashed.
flopping next to her.
Yeah.
So, and then she, kind of passes out. So she was sleeping with the fishes.
Yes.
But
Fun fact: no goldfish were harmed in the
I was
making
just
of
thinking
it.
about that. I was
Apparently, when
wondering.
they originally were going to shoot it, they had like real goldfish in the bowl, and the director was like, "No, I'm not trying to kill a goldfish. I don't want to kill any animals." So they went to just catering and asked if they had any fish, and they had some sardines.
Nice.
So they took the sardines and they painted them orange. So they like painted them orange for the like falling off thing, and then for the scene where she's laying with the fishes, they took an actual goldfish out and let it like flutter around and then put it back in the water. So it was only out of the water for a few seconds.
They just tortured it. They didn't kill it.
Just a little, just like a little bit, They didn't throw it off a balcony.
Well, right.
Have I ever told a story about the time I was sleeping with the fishes?
No,
Probably not.
No.
So when we lived in Utah as kids, we had bunk beds. And so I slept on the top bunk, and I also like flailed around in my sleep a lot when I was younger. But one day so I was sleeping on the top bunk, and then I woke up in the morning and I was on the floor, like I was on the carpeted floor, not in my bed, and it was wet everywhere. So I had somehow fallen out of bed, but off of the top bunk, not woken up, fell onto we had this, it was a Crayola fish tank. It was a fish tank that was shaped like a Crayola crayon, and I had knocked it over, and so it spilled everywhere, and my fish was on the carpet.
Oh,
but the fish survived.
It was a miracle.
Because the carpet stayed wet, or maybe I woke up soon after I fell like maybe I wasn't there as long as I thought. But it was just like laying there in the wet carpet. But we put it back in the bowl and it survived.
So sweet.
Yeah.
But also, how did you get off a bunk bed without waking up?
I don't know. I don't know.
Like, that's crazy.
Just blacked out,
Maybe.
just some head trauma, like a minor concussion.
It's just a minor TBI. It's fine.
It's fine. Just a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, now
some things.
Before we get into the next scene at the hospital, we should say we did miss just a hiccup of a part, but it's important, I think, is where the dad talks to the psychiatrist about the abortion.
Yes.
Because the wife is like, I want you to talk to the psychiatrist. So he does.
Yes.
And the psychiatrist is like, you need to allow this because like your wife is having some very disturbing thoughts. She's having thoughts of like, I don't even remember exactly what he says, but like that doesn't feel she's Damien's real mother. She feels something evil is lurking. There's lurking animals, like
that he's an alien.
Yes, like all these wild claims. And I think that the husband hears that and he's like, oh, well, she's actually funny story. She's actually not wrong. But so I think that like we that sets the scene that the mom knows there's something really wrong. But cue the hospital. She survived the fall.
Oh, yes.
The baby did not.
Which I'm surprised she survived it. They had her like the blood coming out of her mouth.
Yes.
So and he did say she had internal bleeding.
Yeah. Like I had marked it as a death originally, and then it went back and wrote JK.
I did too. I thought that's where she died.
Yeah.
But then she begs the dad. She says, "Don't let him kill me. Don't let him kill me."
Yeah.
And then she ends up in like this full torso and like arm cast thing, which is so sad. And then I think it's at this point that the photographer calls the dad, and the dad goes into the photographer's house.
He's like, you gotta listen. I gotta tell you
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
And that's when he shows the photo of the nanny, because he took a photo of her earlier and she had this line and circle, which was again the perfect replica of her noose.
Yeah.
And then there was that it at this point? It's just her and the priest?
Her and the priest, except then he talks about how when he went to go take pictures of the priest's house, he caught a photograph of himself. And then, so we should say the lines they're like shadows kind of, of something.
Yeah. And it looks like it could be like a processing error because he is
like a smudge.
Yeah. He's doing it all in a black room. So it's like, oh, maybe it's just something got messed up. Yeah.
Like his tool laid on it and left a mark or something.
But then there's a big shadow going across his neck. And at this point, he now knows the shadows are foreshadowing deaths. I know when I was like, oh, interesting. Is that how the term foreshadow? Because it's like a shadow before.
I hope so.
You know?
We're going to say it is.
Yeah. It makes sense, right? Yeah. And we have to talk about his room.
Oh, the priest's
room. So so they meet. The photographer and the dad meet in the priest's room.
Can I just say, because the photographer is like, well, the police said there's nothing here, so it's okay.
Yeah.
So they like break and enter into
it was
a
crime 70s, guys.
Like, because he's crazy. So because the man is crazy, he doesn't.
But even if it's not a viable crime scene, it's still someone's home.
I know. Yeah, literally, like, oh, he was crazy, so like it's fine. You can go through his stuff.
But he was crazy because there was. I mean, he wasn't. He knew what he was talking about, but he was haunted.
Yes.
Like all the walls and ceilings were covered in just Bible pages. And then there's about 47 crosses everywhere. And you can just tell he was clearly obsessed.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, I feel like maybe this was when we paused.
I think it was.
When we paused, because we were just like not feeling the vibes of the movie at this point, and we realized we still had an hour to go.
Yeah.
So we were like, we'll watch the second half on our own, which my husband said when I told him this story. He goes, only an actual sociopath can stop a movie halfway through.
I do it all the time.
I was like, in my defense, I knew the story from the other one. Yeah. So it's not like it was a completely...
Yeah, I guess you both had like an idea.
Right.
Like, or you'd seen it. Brianna had seen the remake. Yeah. So...
No, my husband says the same thing. Like, I will stop a show of an episode of a show 20 minutes in or, halfway through. And my husband's like, you have to finish it. I was like, no, I'll just finish it next time. It's fine. Like, I can just stop it and then resume. It's fine. But anyway, so we decided to stop because we weren't feeling the vibes and we knew we could just watch it later. And we were both really in the mood to watch the movie The Wedding Singer.
So we took a hard...
Wait, you watched an entire movie?
Yeah.
In between watching this movie?
Actually, we watched two.
We finished The Omen the next day.
Because then we watched Chicago.
Oh, yeah.
Ladies.
So we actually finished two movies.
We were clearly more in the mood for like lighthearted, like
we took a hard pivot.
So we paused The Omen to watch The Wedding Singer.
I mean, we should say we are both mentally unwell. So I mean,
we just needed a little lighthearted music in our lives.
Set the scene.
Yeah.
But it's because we did that, as we were watching The Wedding Singer, it inspired our drink that we're pairing.
Did.
Okay.
With our episode tonight. So The Wedding Singer is a fantastic movie with Drew Barrymore and Adam Sandler.
It really is so good. So sweet.
But in it, Drew Barrymore is engaged to a real piece of crap.
Yep.
Mhm.
And
He's a
this
tool.
man is just awful and terrible to her, and they end up not together. So we ruined that spoiler as well. But they go to a party, their engagement party, and in it, he is being very insensitive to her, and she's trying to talk to him, and he's like, "Go get me an Alabama Slammer," or something like that. So he's drinking an Alabama Slammer.
Mhm.
So we looked up what that is, and we
That's our
thought,
drink tonight.
yeah, it's the Slammin Omen.
So confused when you said that was the drink. That's what you wanted.
So Laura, why don't you tell us what we're drinking
No, so this
tonight?
episode can be the Slammin Omen because we're drinking the Alabama Slammer. So an Alabama Slammer is 3/4 ounces of 3 separate liquids: Amaretto, Southern Comfort, and Sloe Gin.
Sounds terrible.
And what is Sloe Gin?
So Sloe Gin, I'm glad you asked because I know. Hold on. Okay, Sloe Gin is a British liqueur made by infusing gin with sloe berries and sugar.
Oh,
Sloe berries.
A sweet, fruity taste. Yeah, it must be a British berry. I don't know.
Which
now
ties in.
Now it ties into the movie.
Oh my God.
See? It was
amazing. Although we live in Utah and Utah's quirky, couldn't find Sloe Gin in the liquor store.
Okay.
But the Sloe Gin or the gin berries kind of look like grapes a little bit. So instead of Sloe Gin, I am using grape liqueur.
Oh my gosh. This drink is an abomination.
Did you put any gin in it?
No, no gin. No? Maybe that would have helped though.
It would have. You should. Of course, you should have done gin.
It's really sweet. Well, and then you top your glass with orange juice.
It's sweet.
Right. I mean, Amaretto, I love. So good. So yeah, Amaretto, Southern Comfort, Sloe Gin, or grape liqueur, and top it with orange juice. Honestly, it's pretty good.
Wild.
Mm-hmm. It's pretty good. I bet if you did it with actual Sloe Gin, it would be even better.
You're welcome, sippers.
So that's how we ended
or
up.
Maybe one of our most unrelated beverage choices.
No. It tied in. It's British.
It's tied in. It's British.
Oh, you're right. Okay.
It tied in perfectly.
It gets a pass.
I must say, the grape liqueur, though, is quite a bright purple. So when you mix it with the orange juice and it makes for a very murky looking drink.
Yeah,
it looks like the Exorcist spew. So that also ties in.
Oh yeah, yeah. But honestly, I would drink it again. It's pretty good.
All right.
Okay. Well, thank you for that explanation.
You're welcome. Now I'm just singing songs from The Wedding Singer.
I'm just singing songs from Chicago.
Holiday.
Razzle, dazzle.
I can't believe you guys took a multi-movie break.
It was just more our vibes that night.
We are ridiculous. Give them that old razzle. Cute. Okay, so I feel like it picks up now and the rest of the movie happens pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Because now the photographer and the dad decide to go to Buddha Hagen or whatever it is.
Well, first they go to Rome.
Yes, because first they have to go back to where he got his son.
Right. Yeah. So they go to Rome to see what's happening.
Mm-hmm. They learn that 5 years ago or, basically on Damien's birthday, there was this Star of David, but a comet on the reverse side. So basically it means the opposite of the son of God. It's the son.
Yeah, it means the son of Satan.
Satan.
Yeah.
But yeah, they learn there's no record of this adoption ever happening, and
because the hospital burned down.
Yeah, the records were burned down, and
the fire started in the record room of the hospital.
And the priest who was in charge of it did survive the fire, even though a lot didn't. But he got burned.
Yeah, this was the one area where I'm like, okay, well, it gave its time a little because the makeup effect on the priest is a little goofy.
Yeah.
But the priest isn't there. So they go there first and they're like, the priest survived, but he's
not here.
Out in a remote monastery. So you can go find him over there. Mm-hmm. This whole part of the movie is just them going on a European adventure.
Yes.
It really is.
Yes. And at some point when they're finding all of this out, somebody's explaining that politicians or politics is the same as Satan and the devil and things like that. Like it is evil. Like they're one and the same.
That like it was destined.
Yeah.
Well, because they're saying it was destined that the son of Satan needed to be the son of a global politician, because there he would have reign and rule. Right. It's all within his domain now. Like being the head of a, political dynasty, he would be able to have the power. So I think that's what it's saying, is that like,
because they have like a passage or something that they're using to like predict this
from Revelations.
And it says that he'll come from like the eternal sea, which they have interpreted to be like the world of politics,
right?
Like it's
So that's why this is why it happened to them, to the Thorns.
But I love that. Yeah, like during their European vacation, the scenery is so beautiful.
Oh yeah,
it's so gorgeous. But then once they find the head priest whose face is half burned off, he also can't talk anymore. And they talk about that's his penance because he's turned. At one point, he had turned from God, and so he like writes down in like this big piece of black chalk. Like he writes down a clue because I think they're asking where Damien's actual mom is. And so he writes Servetti, which means cemetery.
Yeah.
Or which, like, do they not have paper?
I know.
Like, well, like, it's like it's what he had at the time. It's like, what immediately available.
Walk on Rock is creepier.
Yeah, it's creepier this way.
So yeah, they go to the cemetery.
My favorite is like, then they're like, does that mean anything to you? Like, where is it? Like, they're like so intense about being like, where is it? It's like, it's literally on a map. Like, just go find it.
Right there.
Like, it's just like, navigate there. It's fine.
That's right there.
It's right there. We're not hiding this.
Yeah.
Well, and again, maybe this is just what I inferred from it. But when they were talking about how the priest is paying penance for his evil, I think that's when the dad was like, oh, he made the deal. Like he set up. He wasn't just there. He made this happen. And like, so maybe he killed my child, like, or maybe my child is alive with someone else. Like, that's what's happened. He wasn't really conveniently dead, and a new baby was there.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But they go and they unbury it.
Yeah, because they find first they find the grave of Maria somebody, and then Bambino somebody, like the same last name.
And the woman is a dog.
Yes.
Which I was like, maybe she like turns into a dog once it's happened. Maybe that's what it is. Like I was trying to do some research, and that could be that she like transformed into a dog.
I feel like that was the idea.
She was human first and then became.
Yeah, because it's just the skeleton of a dog-like form.
And then just the tiny baby skeleton.
And then there's another skeleton.
Baby skeleton.
And the dad has a sad moment where he's like, my son.
Yes. Well, and you can tell too, because the skeleton is intact, but there's a giant hole in the skull. So you know that they murdered the baby.
They killed his baby.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they are run out of the cemetery by a pack of Rottweilers.
Yeah.
And this is a really intense scene.
Yeah.
It is.
This scene lasts a long time.
It lasts so long. And also, and I don't know if it's just my sound setup, but the loud parts of this movie were so loud compared to the rest of the movie. And this part with the dogs barking, it like made me uncomfortable because it was so loud and lasted so long.
Well, and the photographer at this point had seen the own mark on his photo. So I was like kind of waiting the entire time.
Yes.
Like he jumped some fences with some spikes. Like I kept waiting
for his final destination.
For him to be impaled. Like, it didn't happen here. They got out. They made it out. And then
the dad gets hurt on the fence, like pretty bad. Like they have to like basically his arm gets, impaled on the fence, but then he has to like pull it back up, and it's just brutal.
And at this point he calls his wife.
Yes.
And in the hospital and is like,
You got to bounce.
Get out now.
Yep.
Mhm.
And she questions it just a second, and then she's like, okay.
Yeah.
But then the poor mom, so she's trying to get out as quickly as possible, but she's in this full torso cast. So she's like trying to put on her nightgown and like it just, was not going
So
very
she's got
well.
her nightgown over her head when we see like the door open
Mm-hmm.
and the ominous music begin. And it's Mrs.
the
What's her
nanny.
name? The governess.
Mm-hmm. Mrs. Baylock.
And then we're outside of the hospital
Mhm.
and there's like an ambulance and things happening. And we just hear these girls start screaming, these nurses, and her whole body is just flying out and crashes into an ambulance and breaks the top. And
It's
falls
like head first too.
Yes.
Like
it's a swan dive.
like a full dive.
Yeah.
So she's gone.
She's gone now too.
Yeah.
And then the dad's super sad, and so he recites the poem that the priests have been telling to him. So he recites it to the photographer, and then he says, "Kathy is dead. I want Damien to be dead too."
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh,
Yeah.
But then they got to figure out what they need to do. So
Yeah.
this is when they go
to Bugenhagen.
to Bugenhagen.
That's a fun word to say.
It really is.
It makes me feel like Rose from the Golden Girls, like with all of her like
Oh, like
Mhm.
St. Olaf.
yeah, Saint Olaf names. Like I just feel like Bugenhagen is one she would say.
Yeah.
But like the city is just in ruins. Like this is not a city. This is just ruins of a city.
Yeah. Well, so I think Bugenhagen is the guy. Like that's the man.
Oh, it is.
that he has
I
to
just
go
looked
with.
up Carl Bugenhagen.
Yeah.
I thought it was a place.
No.
Oh, okay. So sorry.
So they have to go to Jerusalem.
I was like, oh, I was like, wait, it's just this regular guy, Carl. Carl Bugenhagen.
It's fine.
Yeah.
It's
He's
fine.
an exorcist and an archaeologist based out of Israel.
Yeah. So it was supposed to be that he was at like an archaeological dig, hence the ruin.
Got
So,
it.
back in biblical times, people would refer to people by where they were from. Like,
Yes.
like somebody of
That's true.
Bethlehem, Bugenhagen of Bugenhagen.
Yeah.
Yep.
Fine.
So
But
they
yeah.
go
Mm-hmm.
and
Bugenhagen shows the dad.
this guy is serious. He's like, all right, this is exactly what you got to do. He's like concise. He gets down to business. He's got these weapons, these like knives and stakes that he's like, you have to use this. It's important where you do it. Like you have to do it in this order, this way. And the
He
dad
tells him-
ground.
Yeah, and he tells him that he'll be, because the dad is still kind of like, I don't know if I want to kill a child.
Right.
And that's when he tells him that he'll be marked with the 3 6s. It's like it has to be on his body, and if it's
And the
not on his
dad's like,
body,
I've bathed him his whole life. And he's like, check his hair.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so he leaves and he tries to meet up with the photographer. And they're in the street and he like throws the knives that he was getting. He was like, I can't do this. Like, I'm not going to kill my child. Like, because I've been raising this kid for 5 years. Like,
yeah.
And then I don't remember exactly.
And then he's like, I'll do it then.
Oh,
like,
that's right.
Because he was like, I'm convinced I will do it. And so he runs over to grab the knives that he just threw.
Yeah, so the
This one was
photographer,
so good.
the photographer runs over to get the knives. Yeah, that the dad go.
So there's like this truck with a giant glass, like plate of glass in the back of it, and it just falls out and gets them.
They like slam on the brakes or something, and so it just slides off the truck bed. Clean decapitation, breaks into like a window, and you just see the head,
the little bouncing. Yes, the bouncing, rolling head. Oh, that effect was pretty good.
That
really
kill
was.
is 10 out of 10. You
So
can't
good.
even appreciate that one.
Oh, loved it.
And I mean, like, it sucks for him, but like this poor dad has seen so much.
I know.
It had so much happen to him.
I know. See
Oh
what happens when you lie?
Yeah. When you accidentally adopt the Antichrist.
Yeah, this is what you get, you son of a bitch.
Yeah. Had he talked to his wife about it, maybe they wouldn't have adopted the Antichrist.
Exactly. Exactly. So after this brutal decapitation, the next scene we have is the dad is on his flight and just holding in his lap in their little bundle is all of the knives.
Yep.
And you just can't
TSA was
TSA
not
be
the
damned.
same.
You just can't bring knives on a plane like that anymore.
No, just a pile
No.
of bag of knives.
This is my personal item.
Yeah.
Yes, that's his personal item for
I
sure.
was like, oh my gosh. Wild.
But it's pretty quick to the end.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
so he goes home and he like immediately shaves his head. Damien's sleeping.
Yes.
And he like cuts his hair and it's there. Because
Mhm.
it's these 3 little sixes like in a little circle. And it's like
Yeah.
they're at the crown of his head.
And I feel like there was, again, I feel like maybe you guys weren't feeling a slow movie, but like there was something to like, it was so slow and he just like,
I
he
agree.
had the scissors and there's something about like cutting someone's hair.
The
I
way
agree.
he
You know, they
cut
just, like-
so close to the scalp was very
Yeah.
eerie. Yes.
But
It
also,
was so good. Like
There's the complexity. And this is why I like that it was slow. Because this helped, like, especially the second half. This is his child. Like this is, he knows it's not biologically, but he has raised this kid, loved this kid for 5 years. So it's like, it's very intimate that he's in this moment and it's just like heartbreaking and
Yeah.
yeah.
No, this part I didn't feel like was slow, like, or that part. Even like I wasn't bored.
Like
even.
I think it had a purpose.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But it's there. So he's like, well, shit.
Well, and before he has that moment, he does have to lock the dog in the cellar.
Mm-hmm,
When he gets home, the dog is like, "Oh, you mean my owner harm?"
Yep.
And the dog's freaking out in the little locked room he's in.
Mm-hmm. And then after he sees the sixes, the nanny comes back in.
This is when I wrote,
He's not going to let him
spider
stop.
monkeys
Yeah.
on him.
She did spider monkey attack.
Yes.
I loved it.
Spider monkey.
Yep. All comes back to Twilight. Always.
Always Twilight.
So they have like a little kerfuffle and he ends up stabbing her.
With like a meat fork, like a meat twine fork.
I think it was one of his things, wasn't it? Or was it just there? I don't know.
I think,
No.
was it one of the knives?
I don't think it was one of the knives.
I don't know why there would be a
meat.
meat fork in a child's bedroom.
Well, no, because they
No,
kind of
they-
like ended up in
yeah.
the kitchen. Like
They
their
did, yeah.
That's right.
kerfuffle
Okay.
Mhm.
took
That's
them all around the house.
No, you're right. You're right.
No, I'm pretty sure
That's
it was
just
a meat
Damien's
fork
play fork.
to the neck. Like
I don't know. It was
those
different
big,
back then.
You know those big long forks that like hold down a ham while you do like the slicing
Yes.
or
Like
turkey or
carving
whatever?
fork.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah. And so he goes to get Damien, but at this point, he had been like, I think he had like sped home or something. So a police officer was following.
Oh yeah, because he sped through the gate, the security gate.
Oh, that's what it is. He grabs Damien and like leaves. And
so his
that's
own
when-
security is after him.
Yeah.
Well, because then he's just driving like a freaking maniac. So then there's a
Mhm.
ton of cops that are going after him because he's asking for that, honestly.
Yep.
And Damien's kind of just like, Daddy, no.
Oh, yes.
That part was sad, actually. He's just like, because the dad, as he's like running from the cops, is just like holding Damien down in this
Daddy,
thing.
please.
Yeah. Oh. And so they go to like just like a local church.
Mhm.
And this is when I noticed the really weak effort on the part of the child. Because in the car he was like, pleading for his life. But as the dad's walking him into the church, and maybe this was just the actor, like he's just like lightly like hitting his dad, like, oh,
Mhm.
go.
I mean, because he is
Come on,
Satan
kid.
trapped in the body of a 5-year-old. So like there's only so much he can do.
You
Okay,
could have tried
but
harder, kid.
This like the scene where he throws the tantrum the first time they see
That's
the
true.
church.
He didn't
Like
have that
that-
energy.
Yeah,
You're right.
he did not give us that.
Right. Right.
So the dad is there, like they're like at the foot of the altar, and the dad is just
Mhm.
like holding his knife above Damien.
Mm-hmm.
One of the
And that's when the
security
police-
guys gets through.
Mm-hmm.
And I loved this like shot of like he shoots his gun, and it's this like slow pan to the bullet. That was really cool.
Mhm.
I liked it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then it cuts.
Cuts. So it's like, did he shoot him? Did he stab
like,
him?
what
Did he
happened?
shoot both of them?
Because like right before that shot sound, we hear Damien say like, "Daddy, no!"
Mm-hmm.
So then we're at a funeral.
With
Yeah.
two
There's
caskets.
Two caskets.
Mm-hmm.
Now, immediately I was like, well, those are two big caskets. So.
Right.
Yeah.
2 adult caskets.
Mm-hmm.
But then it's wrapping up and a guard or a, security guy's like, all right, Mr. President, we have to leave. And it's the president and his wife.
Mm-hmm.
We just see them from behind, so we don't see like
from behind. Mm-hmm.
And the camera pans down and the president is holding Damien's hand. Dun, dun.
And Damien just like turns around and he gives just the smuggest little look.
It is amazing.
It was so like it was the perfect little look to close out the movie.
Oh,
good.
He lives.
Amazing.
He lives.
Honestly, like
solid movie.
Yes.
I love this movie so much.
There's so much about it that I loved. And again, the more we talk about it, the more I'm like, oh, wait, I really loved this part too. But like, there was a lot. It was so good.
And I know I was saying like it was slow, so we stopped the movie and watched 2
I think that was more about the mood that we were in at the night,
it's where
not
we
the
were.
movie.
And that's,
it's not
we
on
were
the
just
movie.
in the mood to be stupid.
Yeah,
and so this was not like a stupid mood.
No, yeah.
So I think we actually knew we needed to wait to give it justice.
Exactly. I enjoyed the second half of the movie so much more because I was just more in the mood.
Right.
Yeah. No, that's fair.
Now, neither of you have seen, or like you have seen the 2005 one or 6.
I think I have seen that one, but I don't really remember it.
It's 2006 because they released it on June 6th.
Yes, that's right.
Brilliant.
Now, I haven't seen it in 100 years, and I remember liking it, but I would be interested to watch it now that I've seen the original,
right,
and see like how it stacks up.
Right,
probably not as good, just because like they rarely are.
Yeah, especially a remake. Like, yeah, I don't know. I'd be curious enough to see,
right,
like to watch it, but I feel like it'd be hard to hold up against against this one.
Agreed. Also, they didn't have as much leeway with like the way they filmed it, so they had, like,
you can just like get the baboons
and rights and animal activists, like so funny. Oh, okay. So while we're watching it, sometimes I'm like thinking and anticipating what our psych segment will be. Like I'm watching it, trying to look for what the psych segment might be.
I should guess.
Like, we should have like where we guess what we think it might be.
Yeah. Do you have any guesses for this movie?
Well, see, that's what's so wild about this one is that I was like, in so many movies, you really can just be like, well, that's just schizophrenia.
Yeah.
Like, but in this one, that would have had to be shared schizophrenia with like 5 adults.
Right.
Yeah.
Which doesn't fly. So I'm like, I don't know. I don't know where you're going to go.
Yeah. I feel like I usually just try to keep an eye out for dreams to try to get dream analysis.
Yes.
No real dreams on this one, I don't think.
No.
All right. Well, Laura, where are you taking us?
All right. I've got some plans.
Okay. Just remember, she's not a real doctor, but this is a movie. And if you're listening to this podcast for psychological help, go get real psychological help.
Yes, please do. There's no shame. There's no shame in it. Yeah.
We are not your psychiatrist or therapist.
We're not your therapists. We never claim to be.
We're your friend. We'll drink with you. We'll watch a movie with you.
Yes.
We might even have thoughts about your psychology, but we're not going to tell you.
No.
You know?
Yes.
All right. So here's where we're going. We're going 2 places. The first place is I am not going to diagnose the mom with any of these things, but I feel like there are several potential diagnoses that could have inspired the idea for what goes on with mom and Damien. So I feel like what ends up happening with the mom and her, belief that her son is evil, this inability to connect to him, this doubt and depression and turmoil she goes through is something that many women really do go through. So I feel like this story was probably inspired by, I don't know this, but real life postpartum psychosis.
Yeah.
Because that's a thing people go through, and it's like this mom had the symptoms, but in her case, it's because her son was the son of Satan.
Mm-hmm.
So justified.
I have a question. I don't know if you'll know this because you're like not a clinician,
Mhm.
but what is the age bracket of the child? Like at what point does it, you know what I'm saying? Like the
Mhm.
baby is born and how long can the woman experience postpartum? Because, you know, like could he be 5 and she still be suffering from it?
It can last a long time. And this is not my area of expertise.
Right.
So, you know, I
Mhm.
don't want to speak incorrectly about it, but I do know that it can be very intense and it can last years.
Okay.
It
Mhm.
can.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like her case is kind of different because it seems that she didn't really have it until
Right.
he
It onsets later.
Yeah.
like delayed. But I still feel like the things that she goes through, it has to have been inspired by
Mhm.
what real women
Yeah.
go through.
No, I think that makes sense where it's like it wouldn't be a diagnosis, but like maybe that's what they researched
Yes.
to get
To figure out,
her
because that would be
reactions.
horrible,
Mhm.
right? Like,
Well,
Mhm.
and the devil knows that he can use that because even her own psychiatrist wouldn't validate her fears and thoughts. So, like, if
Exactly.
it really was the son of Satan, he would know what he's doing
Exactly.
and he could
Because
use that.
that's exactly what I was thinking, and that's what made me think of it when the psychiatrist was saying she's seeing some really disturbing things. You need to let her not have this second baby because she's saying that your son is not hers and is a alien and is the devil. And I thought that's because real women have had that experience where they've thought that about their kids because they've had this postpartum psychosis.
Mm-hmm.
And postpartum psychosis is different than postpartum depression.
Right.
You know, postpartum depression is just this intense, overwhelming, debilitating, depressive symptoms versus psychosis is where like you might believe your child is possessed or switched at birth or evil.
Mhm.
And then you can have like terror and detachment from your child, which we do see her having the detachment from him.
Oh, yeah.
It also, oh shoot, now I'm not going to be able to pronounce it again because it's pronounced kind of funny. There's also this thing called Kugra delusion. It's
Oh,
delusional misidentification.
what
And
does that mean?
so this is a rare psychological disorder where a person believes a loved one has been replaced by an identical imposter,
Body snatchers.
like
Oh.
body snatcher. Could you imagine if
But that's
suddenly,
not just, that's different than just like delusional.
yeah,
It's like specific.
it's very specific to like
I mean,
you
that's
believe
really
your loved one
specific.
has been
Mhm.
replaced.
Wow.
So it's not a common thing. But
Hey, you know what?
it applies to this situation.
Yeah.
So wouldn't that be crazy if suddenly you just were convinced that the person, like somebody you love in your life, is like, yeah,
An
a body
alien?
snatcher,
Mhm.
and they're not really them anymore.
Yeah.
Literally crazy.
Yeah. So in addition to the postpartum psychosis that I think could have inspired her story is also just postpartum depression as well, because we do see signs of her being depressed.
Right.
And then that can lead to detachment. And we've already talked on this, show about, I keep calling it a show. I don't know why I'm saying that tonight.
It's the Spooky Sup Show.
Here on this podcast, we've talked a little bit about attachment disorders and kind of how that can lead to some serious problems.
Mhm.
But also it can just really lead to serious problems with the mom feeling, because think about it, like you spend so much of you put your actual body into making this child and then you don't feel attached to it. You'd feel so guilty. It would be so traumatic. You'd feel like a bad mom, but
And I think the movie does a really good job of showing the shift that happens for her specifically, and that's like the montage at the beginning that we see. Like they were so happy and, he
Mhm.
was being promoted and things were going so well and she was living her best life as a mom.
Mhm.
And then we see how it just like quickly deteriorates. I think they did a good job
Exactly.
of showing
Yeah.
that shift.
Totally, because I feel like it really just led to kind of she's going through an existential crisis where, what she thought, the life she thought she was going to have, and she wanted to be a mom so bad because we even see the first scene. The dad is like, she wants this more than anything. This will
Mhm.
kill her if she finds out. And then she gets the kid and then she doesn't like it. and she feels like something's wrong with it, she's got to just feel all of these huge conflicts to what her life is.
Mm-hmm.
And then you add in the whole religious and cultural thing happening with them where, you know, she's not supposed to get an abortion.
Right.
I'm thinking I guess they went to an Episcopal wedding, but they see a lot of Catholic priests.
And he was born in a Catholic hospital.
So they're religious for sure.
So I don't know that they're Catholic, but they're probably religious.
But also, like, are they? Because clearly in his 5 years of life, he's never been to a church.
That's true.
Oh, that's true. Oh, so we wouldn't have been baptized.
Yeah.
But there's the societal and like, especially in the 70s.
Yeah, just because the time. Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe not. Maybe they weren't.
Mm-hmm.
He would have had to at least pretended to be a politician in that time. You had to be religious.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's not like a rule, but
right.
Yeah, no.
Right.
Yeah, no.
So,
just because I'm thinking of it right in this second, because we were saying that, one of my favorite lines of this movie was when they're talking about him becoming president and his wife is like, oh, I want to be a first lady. And he goes, you might be too sexy for the White House.
I liked that.
I was like, yes.
Get it, girl.
No, they actually had such a cute relationship.
I know. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I feel like some of what she's going through and some of the turn in her demeanor we see at the end could also be that then she's having this resentment toward her child where she sacrificed so much for him and is devoting her life to him, and then he ends up being kind of this annoying demonic brat. So she's probably like
that sucks. Wow, my kid's annoying. Shit.
So she was probably really resenting him.
She's not the first mom, I'm sure.
Right. So that's kind of what I feel like is going on with the mom.
Yeah.
And then, okay, hear me out. So they were talking about how politics or politicians and Satan or the devil are kind of like the same. Mm-hmm. And so then I started thinking, okay, well, is the personality of a politician, does it lend itself to kind of an evil personality as well?
Ooh, okay.
That's a good
question. I know we've I know. So I know we've talked about some ways of analyzing personalities on this show.
Yes.
On the podcast before. But one we haven't talked about because I really don't know much about it. So I'm kind of just shooting my shot here, like off the cuff. But I was thinking, I know a way to analyze personalities is called the Enneagram. And
I know a lot about this, so.
Oh, okay. So you can tell me if I'm wrong.
Yes, I can.
An Enneagram way of like classifying people's personalities, it kind of like looks like a star, Enneagram. And then I was thinking Enneagram is like a star, pentagram is like devil, star. Let's analyze his character or politicians through the lens of Enneagram.
Okay.
So that's Did you decide what you think his number is?
Yes.
Because I think I have an opinion.
Well, okay, so according to ChatGPT.
So we should preface this with there are different types, and every number is a different type of person.
Yeah.
So when only you and a spiritual leader can determine your number. Someone else can't decide it for you. Like it's a self. It's something that you and someone that you trust conclude together. I couldn't be like, oh my God, you're such a 4. So, yeah.
So, because I don't know much about it, I relied on AI. And so AI has given me 4 different potential numbers that could be common for politicians and how it lends to maybe evilness. Mm-hmm. Which typically these numbers wouldn't lead to evilness, but just in the way that it could present evil politicians. So type 1 possible one could be type 1, which is the reformer. They can be rigid, moralistic, and fanatical. So we can decide together which one we think he is, okay? The dad. So the reason why this one might fit is that their core desires could be to be morally right and to improve the world. which I do think we see that in the dad. But their core fear could be being corrupt, unethical, or wrong. And some traits they could have is that they're principled, perfectionistic, self-righteous, and sometimes puritanical. So that could be like some politicians.
I would strike him out as a 1.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
And
I feel
then
like it's like, yeah, like
I
maybe
don't
there's
think a 1.
politicians out there that fit this, but I don't think he is.
I don't think a
Right.
1 either. And once we decide on the 1, then I'll talk about how those can be viewed as evil.
Mhm.
So I'll only do that for the one we choose. Okay, the next option they gave was a type 3, the achiever. They're strategic, image-oriented, and deceptive. I might have better feelings about this one. So their core desire is success, admiration, and influence. This can, and again, this is just common in politicians in general. Core fear could be failure and being seen as incompetent or unworthy. Their traits could be charismatic, highly ambitious, status conscious, and adaptable. Sometimes like to a fault, like they're chameleons.
Okay, yeah, that one seems
a
a
better fit.
lot more likely.
Okay, just 2 more. Or another common politician number could be type 5, the investigator, detached, secretive, and power-seeking. So their core desire is to understand, control knowledge, and maintain autonomy or independence. Their core fear is being useless, helpless, or overwhelmed. And their traits could be very analytical, strategic, private, and detached. Parts of him are this, but I don't think
Parts,
it's
yeah.
I know
agree.
some 5s, he's
Parts,
in a
but
5.
yeah.
And the last one that AI said politicians are commonly is type 8, the challenger, dominant, authoritarian, and ruthless. So their core desires would be control, power, and self-sufficiency. Their core fear is being weak, controlled, or vulnerable. And their traits would be assertive, commanding, protective, and often intimidating. I don't think that's him either.
Yeah, I don't think that's him.
When you first brought it up, I thought he was a 3.
Ooh, okay.
That
Okay.
was my guess.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
I can think of a lot of other evil politicians that are a type 8.
Uh-huh.
Just a
5.
Yeah, just a
Yeah.
few.
just a couple.
Just a few.
So we think a type 3.
I think that was the most fitting.
Yeah, I think so too. Because I really do feel like we see that in the dad, that he does want to be successful and admired and to have influence, but it doesn't seem like he wants
But that's not a bad thing, right?
No, it's not a
Yeah.
bad thing.
Oh,
Yeah.
no, yeah.
These things are not inherently bad. It's just they could
Right.
become bad
Right.
based on your, fears, I guess.
Mhm.
But I do think that he has this fear of failure. That's why he, adopted the son of Satan, because he didn't want to fail having a child with his
Right.
wife.
Yeah.
Or being seen as incompetent or unworthy. Like
Mhm.
he's going to do everything he can for that. So this is how type 3s can be viewed as evil. Type 3 politicians are often masters of deception and spin, willing to say or do whatever is necessary to maintain their image, aka adopting the son of Satan.
For example.
Maybe.
Their need to win can drive them to sacrifice morality for political gain, making them seem calculating and untrustworthy. So do we think that's a good fit for him?
That's what I would say.
Yeah.
A very
I think that one
loose
best fits him.
analysis.
So, yeah, I mean, there also were, I kind of just looked up psychological personality profiles of politicians in general. And there's things like being really extroverted, having strong ambition and competitiveness. Sometimes like being manipulative or very intelligent. And also like charming, like having that emotional intelligence, like the ability to kind of schmooze people.
Yeah.
Because we should also note that we only ever saw him as a dad and husband. We never saw any clips of him working in his role.
Yeah.
So who, we only see that part of him.
And sometimes people's personality traits can be a little bit flexible depending on the situation they're in.
Right.
I would say deep down to your core, most people are who they are. It just presents as different ways in different situations. But the one that I think really stuck out for this guy, for the dad here, is a trait they can have of moral flexibility, which is interesting to think about. like politicians having that, but politics, you have to be able to compromise.
I
Well,
was going to say, don't you think you have to have that at least a little?
exactly.
for
I don't
Exactly.
think you could do the job otherwise.
And again,
No.
it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's only
Right.
when it's depending on how it's used.
Right.
Compromise
Like
is not
against your wife.
right.
Yeah, secretly adopting the Antichrist, like you might have some loose
Little
morals
gray
here.
area.
Mhm. But like, yeah, like you have to be able to do that, but it can also lead to just this, dishonesty in a strategic way. And you have to prioritize some things over another, but then you get to be the one to decide. So it can lead to a lot of corruption. But so that's how I think people can really see politicians as evil because of those innate qualities that might draw them to politics in the first place. And then
Right.
the demands of their job. It's not necessarily always evil, but it can seem that way because they're in kind of an impossible position.
And there is a level
Oh,
of
yeah.
corruption needed to get where you get,
Oh, for
for
sure.
the most part.
For sure.
I'm not saying everyone, but like everyone.
But it's not a great system, and it's the way that it's designed is going to keep people in those types of personalities
Winning second elections,
in those types of
for
positions.
example.
Right. Mhm.
So now that I've brought us all down by talking politics, there's
The
my
Enneagram is fascinating.
I'll have to look into it more.
Okay, so I'll say
Yeah.
this, like both of my parents are into it, and okay, let me say it like this. So I was a huge skeptic of it, right? Like I was like, that's so stupid. Like there's 9 personalities and you're not supposed to use it to like characterize yourself or pigeonhole yourself into, but you should use it to like help yourself. It was my dad being into it that I was like, oh, you know what? Actually, I want to look into this because, I respect my dad.
You better not
No,
listen
I'm
to this
just kidding.
podcast.
I'm just kidding. But the other parent that I had used it to kind of be showy, as is her number, literally. And that always kept me away from it because I was like, oh my God, shut up. Like, but it is really interesting. So if you're intrigued, if you're like, what is that? It's really fascinating. So even just to like read about it is really interesting. Sorry, Mom and Dad. You already know how I feel about this though, so it's fine. I'm not telling you anything.
Yeah.
Well, no, it is interesting. So I like one of my best friends was recently in town and she does more. She's recently gotten a little bit more into like astrology and tarot card reading, which is not, it's something that I'm skeptical of. But we had like a really good conversation where we talked about it's not necessarily about like the tarot card or the tarot card reading. It's about how you feel about it and your reaction to it. And it is so enlightening and can be so true because it's how you interpret it. And it's
you
like
use it for good, not evil.
Exactly. But no, it's like, it was actually like, it's really enlightening.
It's very similar. It really is.
Yeah.
I mean, all religions have tools that they use to like plug into it so that you can like relate more to it. And I think that's just different tools.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
So I don't know if I've given her a shout out before, but there's your shout out.
There's your shout out. And
okay,
to
but we can move away from politics and get into some fun facts.
Yes.
I feel like I've shared some as we've like talked about. I feel like I've shared the fun ones, honestly, while we were talking, but I still have a few more.
I still am never going to be able to look at those monkeys again.
Right? I thought that was the craziest, like, that
crazy.
was in the, like the documentary, like the DVD extras. It's called The Omen Revealed, where they have like the interview with the producer, the director, the person that does the music. Like they have a few people talking about it. And that's where I saw that story, which is just
oh my gosh,
crazy to hear them recount.
So crazy.
Okay, well, getting this movie made took a little bit of time. Warner Brothers had the movie. But they kind of decided that they wanted to drop it because at the same time they were working on the sequel to The Exorcist. So this one kind of kept like it was like, I don't know, we have the Exorcist sequel. Like, do we need this one? They kept kind of like pushing it off. And then they finally decided they just didn't want it. You know, it was like, we're just going to see if someone else will take it. So originally all the studios said no. But finally someone at Fox saw it and they decided to go for it. I think mainly because I don't know if it was the writer, the producer, or the director. Someone from the movie sent it to like their friend that worked at Fox and was like, hey, what do you think about doing this movie? That could be fun, right? So that's kind of how they ended up getting the movie made. But it took them a minute. It had a lot of rejections. I think part of it too was originally, I think the script had a lot more like traditionally spooky elements. I think they were going to have like witchcraft and like covens and I don't know, gargoyles, and like there were traditionally spooky elements, and so they decided to kind of strip away anything that they thought would make it feel less real. You know, like as real as you can make these movies, but it's like the idea was that for the movie it had to feel real.
It did.
No witchcraft, no covens. I kind of
think
feel
that
like
was
that
the
would
right
have been
call.
cool, but I just love a witchy movie.
I do too.
You know, who doesn't love a coven?
I will always have a coven. I want my own, you know.
I mean, we kind of have one, really.
We're working on it.
That's true.
Yeah. We're working on it.
When they were looking to cast the actors to play Damien, the kid, what the director did is when the kid like came in to audition, he told them like, okay, when I say action, just attack me and attack me until I yell cut. Okay. Right? Because that way for like the tantrum scene, you know, it's kind of what they were testing for. So apparently when, what's his name? Harvey Stevens is the name of the actor that plays little Damien. When he came in, same instruction. It was like, okay, as soon as I call action, attack, and then just stop when I yell cut. So as soon as he said action, he immediately hit him in the groin and then just kept hitting and attacking the director. And then they yelled cut and he just didn't stop. Like he was just like attacking the director.
He was in the zone.
Yeah, no, full send. I feel like all of the people in the commentary were like, he was so perfect for the role, but I think he was kind of a little shit. Like they were all like, I wouldn't want to be his parent. Like it was,
oh no.
Did he like go on to act more?
I don't know, but I mean, honestly,
I wonder like,
I feel like all child actors, like, I mean, come on, that's a job. It's a child. They're not going to be great at it.
Yeah, talk about personality types. The personality type to be a child actor.
Right.
But honestly, he did so good.
Yeah. So after that, the director was like, yes, this is Damien. I think his hair is naturally more like blonde or something. Yeah. He was like, dye his hair. This is Damien.
No, it was perfect. He was so good. Like his facial expressions were so good.
No, he crushed it.
I think he was in the Omen remake. The 2006.
Oh, that would be cool. Like a cameo.
Yeah. Here, I'll
okay.
I'll confirm that. Oh, yes, he was a tabloid reporter.
Oh, fun. I like that. I like when they like give homage to him.
Cool. That's fun. Okay, for my favorite scene, the decapitation scene. Originally in the script, what they wanted is the sheet of glass to fall down from a building, like it slipped or broke off. And while he reached down to get the knives, that's how he was decapitated.
Oh.
But they just could not get a sheet of glass to come down
and make it all the way down.
Because it kept wanting to like fall like a leaf. Like it kept going like sideways because that's how the glass naturally wanted to fall. So like they tried strapping it to different things. Like they just could not get it to fall correctly. So that's when they pitched this other idea, which is like
it worked.
And honestly, I feel like, I mean, you got the head rolling on the sheet of glass, which I think made it even better. And you wouldn't have gotten that if it was a top down.
Right.
It only worked with the side to side.
And again, it made it way more Final Destination-y because it had to be the car parked then and the way that it like let loose. Yes, it was perfect.
Yeah. So, and then when they were like editing or like creating the scene, they found that like usually with horror movies, I thought this was interesting, when there's something like scary or like a death or like something, people look away, right? And usually they had found that people look away for about 3 seconds. Like that's usually they'll like, oh, I don't want to watch. And then after 3 seconds, most people will like check the screen again. So they intentionally made this scene longer. They wanted it to be like 6 seconds that the head is rolling so that way when you got the people that looked away, you knew that when they would look back, he was still there. So they wanted this like, and they said it was kind of cool at like screenings. You got like the second scream, you know, you got the first like, and then it was like checking again. Oh God, still there.
That's really smart because that makes sense.
Right?
You initially look away and then you check back. So
I just thought that was such a cool little like, you know, human psychology, right? It's like, how long will they look away? It's like about 3 seconds. So if you want them to see it, do it a little longer. I love that.
Brilliant.
Originally for the dogs, they wanted German Shepherds. Like that was just like what they had envisioned. Yeah. But apparently England had like a 6-month quarantine requirement for dogs. Oh. So they had to use dogs that were available for them in England, and they only had Rottweilers. Oh, so that's why they ended up going with Rottweilers. They wanted German Shepherds, but like, I think they worked.
I honestly think they almost worked better because they are so dark themselves. Yes. A lot of times when they would first pan to it, you almost couldn't see the dog. And then you did. And I don't feel like you would have gotten that with German
Shepherds. They can like hide in the shadows.
Yeah.
And like in the darkness.
So dark.
Yeah. Also their eyes. I mean, we got like some intense eye shots. But
they're
like,
also scary dogs.
They feel like their eyes
I know German
like
Shepherds
perfect.
could be too, but I feel like Rottweilers are scarier.
And
you know, it's cute, but scary.
Oh yeah. It's funny because I did notice that like when I first saw the dog, I thought, oh, that's an interesting dog to have, that it's not like a German Shepherd.
Right?
Because I was thinking it maybe would have normally been a German Shepherd. And I was like, oh, that's an interesting dog to use. But it makes sense now.
Yeah. But it worked. Yeah, no, it was like, it felt totally like, worked. Oh, why that kind of dog? But like, I don't know, it worked.
I didn't even think about it. I thought like, I didn't even notice.
Yeah. Okay. Then the composer of the movie is Jerry Goldsmith. And he was apparently having a concert like in town that I think some of the creators of the movie went to. And he was doing a concert of the music from like all of his previous movies. So when they heard that, they were like, maybe we can get him for our movie. Like, cool. I love that they were fans.
Yes, me too.
And then like went up.
That has got to be like such a meaningful moment to that person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we talked about the music and like the score for this, and it was incredible. And it was nominated for an Oscar.
Okay.
And so Jerry Goldsmith at that time had been nominated, I think 11 or 12 times, but had never won.
Oh.
And so when he was nominated for this movie, he was like, it's a horror movie. I kind of don't even want to go because I know I'm not going to win.
Right.
I haven't won any time before. A horror movie has never won. Why would it win this time? But he actually ended up winning for this one. He got an Academy Award. Sorry, not an Oscar. Okay. An Academy Award for this one, which is
that's so cool.
It's so cool.
I mean, it's memorable. It's very memorable.
And just all throughout the movie, just even the background lull, there was always sound. Until there wasn't, and then you really noticed it.
Yeah, I forget what scene it was. I think it was one where like, maybe it was when the dog was coming for him at like the end. There's just like the whispers.
Yes.
You know, like it was the choir just like whispering something. And it's like he came up with like he had the choir do all the whispers. So it's like it was more than just music. It was the entire score. Worked so perfectly.
Good. I love it.
He did end up being, I think, nominated 17 times for an Oscar. He's only won once. And it was for The Omen.
Nice.
Wow. Amazing.
Well done, sir.
Yeah, good job, buddy.
Okay, and then the last thing, the ending was originally going to be a little different. The original ending that they had shot was that you would get to the funeral scene, and it was going to be a funeral for the whole family. So it was going to be that all of them died at the end. And when they sent the rough cut to one of the studio execs, he was like, oh yeah, this is great. Like, it looks good. He was like, but what if Damien survived?
Yes.
And they were like, yes, that is a better ending. Will you give us money to reshoot that? And they were like, yes, we will.
Okay.
So
I think that makes the movie.
Like, so good.
went back, and then they refilmed just the very, very end of the president kind of holding his hand, and
I
his
think that's
little,
a
turn
huge,
back.
that's
Because it's a great way at the end of the movie for you to realize that you were rooting for the kid to die.
yes.
Yes.
And it's like, oh,
Oh, damn, the
No.
5-year-old made it.
It's so true.
uh-huh.
Oh, what a movie.
Yeah.
Oh.
So good.
All right. Well, here we go. Here on Spooky Sips, we don't give stars, we give sips. So 5 out of 5 sips. My drunk.
You might be.
Out of 5 sips. How many do you give the Omen?
Okay, I can start. I don't know, maybe, and we were talking about just being in the mood for it, but maybe I was just really in the mood for this movie.
Mhm.
But I loved it. I thought it was so good. It exceeded my expectations. Maybe part of it was I had low expectations. I thought this was going to be just a random kind of spooky 70s movie.
Right.
But
Mhm.
it exceeded the expectations that I went in with. I think this one's pretty high for me. I think this is a 4.5
Okay.
for me.
Ooh, that's high.
I really
Mhm.
I really like the music was so good. The acting was good.
Mhm.
The story was interesting. It was different to me from other haunting, demon, possession, whatever category you want to put this in. I feel like
Right.
it's a little different in a
I
really
agree.
cool way.
I agree.
Yeah, it was pretty
Awesome.
high
Yeah.
for me.
So for me, as we as a podcast, as we watch more and more movies, I find it interesting that most of the ones that are staples and known of aren't always my favorites. Sometimes I
Mhm.
like them, but I feel like you don't hear about the Omen as much as
No.
The Exorcist, Rosemary's Baby, then Freddy Krueger. I feel like you don't hear about it as much. So I find that I often like those ones even more.
Mhm.
And for me, I'm going to give it a 4 because I loved everything about it. I loved the acting. I loved the music, the photography, the cinematography, the storyline. Yeah, it's a 4 for me.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I really like this movie. I feel like I wasn't quite in the mood for it this time, and I feel like I found myself waiting for it to be over a couple of times. But I feel like that was just the mood I was in. It's a solid movie. I've seen it 4 times probably,
Oh my
so clearly
gosh.
I do like it. But
I mean, it's okay for us to not agree.
this
Yeah.
it definitely for sure is a must watch. It's more than a 3, so I'm giving it a 3.5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's
Very good.
solid.
It's very good.
Oh yeah.
Yes. No, honestly, if you haven't seen it, I very highly recommend it,
Mhm.
especially if you love the older movies.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And I will say, if you are not a fan of gore, but want something spooky, especially from the 70s,
Yes.
I feel like the 70s went so hard with gore for a lot
I
of
agree.
movies. This one, not a lot of gore. We've talked
No.
about the deaths. They were intense,
But they
but
weren't gruesome.
no, I don't even know if there was much blood.
Well, the head rolling
there
around
was-
on the
even
ground.
No, you
that,
did.
It was just a head. It
It
wasn't
was.
Some
Yeah.
blood.
there.
No,
No,
it was.
there weren't. There wasn't.
wasn't,
There wasn't it was a
Stuff
very
gushing
clean
out
cut
and
head.
where it's
No, exactly.
and it was quick, it was boom,
Just a light
decapitated.
decapitation.
Right.
A light, quick.
But it's not gruesome.
Yeah,
I
no,
wouldn't. I wouldn't say it was gruesome or gory. I think if you want an older one that really to me doesn't have much blood, there are deaths obviously, but this is a good one for that.
I agree.
I agree. Oh, all right. Well, next time we're being seasonal again, sippers. It's Easter coming up, soon. So we thought we'd give you the chance to watch Donnie Darko.
Ugh.
And if you don't understand why I'm telling you to watch that for Easter, then you should watch it. And you'll
Yes.
Yes,
Mhm.
you should.
so we will be watching that next time. If you haven't seen it, get watching, get sipping, and we'll see you next time on Spooky Sips.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Spooky Sips. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe wherever you're listening. To stay up to date on all the spooky things we're up to, follow us on Facebook and Instagram at spookysips_podcast. And if you want to help support the podcast, consider buying us a coffee, or really a cocktail. We are completely independent, so every little bit goes a long way to keeping our podcast running and improving. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.